The Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. Why are we so quick to judge women, and what can we learn from these women on the show? We are going to take everything we can learn from these women and apply it to our own life. Everything from work ethic to prioritization, how to be consistent in your life, how to have laser vision on your goal and do whatever you need to do to achieve that. I need to be going harder. I need to be working harder. And when you watch this show, it literally makes you look at your own life and you're like, where can I improve? How can I double down on my dream just like these cheerleaders are and make it happen? Hey y'all, welcome back to Reel It In. I'm your host, Reid Cox, and this is your go-to destination for self-improvement and creating the life you've always desired, all while keeping it real. And today we have my little boy, Ragnar, joining us. Ragnar, say hi. Oh gosh. Today we have my husky, Ragnar, joining us. I'm not sure how long he'll stay with us, but he is here for now. He's the best. Say hey, Ragnar. Paw. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, I love Ragnar so much. Oh my gosh. Have y'all seen the new Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader show? Okay, it is a must watch. And today we are going to be unpacking this amazing and slightly controversial show. We're going to be talking about all the things that we can take away from how these cheerleaders live their lives. Oh my gosh, is this going to be distracting? I hope not. He's going to stay with me. We're going to be talking about everything from how wrong some people's assumptions are about these women and this organization as a whole, bless you, as well as what we can take away from how these women live their lives, how focused they are, their dedication to fuel our own success. Oh my gosh. Oh, Ragnar has left the building. Bye, boy. And make sure you throw me a like and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a future episode. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, first off, I knew literally nothing about the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders before I watched this show. And I don't even know why I decided to watch it in the first place. It's normally not a show I would be drawn to watch. I think I was about to do like a little workout in my living room floor and I was like, I'll turn on a show just to have in the background. So I chose this show. And let me tell you something. I started this show and finished it by the end of the day. It is so good. I was so moved by every single one of these women's stories and just blown away by their dedication, not only to the craft of dance, but to themselves and making the team. And they just showed the ins and outs of the whole audition process and what it's like to actually be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, like during the season. And it's so, like, it's a lot. Like, these women are athletes. And after I watched the show, I wanted to know more about these women. So I got on YouTube and I typed in Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader Netflix show, and these videos came up, and a few of them were videos that were kind of negative and ripping these women apart and coming from a place of judgment and not like enthusiastically cheering these women on. And I just thought, wow, this is so interesting, and I feel it's worth unpacking because these videos that were made about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders that were negative and judgmental were made by women. Shocker. Which leads me to the point of how we live in a society that loves to admire beautiful, successful women and then tear them down and rip them apart and look for anything that might be bad about them and then try to cancel them or make other people like judge them. You're seeing it right now with the ballerina farm girl who I think seems really cool. And there are all these like hit pieces coming out about this woman, she's Mormon and she has 8 kids. And I could see why people would want to like come for that and try to expose that when this woman looks like she lives a pretty cool life. Same thing with this Dallas Cowboy cheerleader thing. And I know that most of the feedback on this show is positive, but even just seeing a few videos negatively picking these women apart, it rubbed me the wrong way. So we are going to make a positive review of these women. We are going to take everything we can learn from these women and apply it to our own life. Everything from work ethic to prioritization, how to be consistent in your life, how to have laser vision on your goal and do whatever you need to do to achieve that. The videos that I saw where women were picking these other women apart, it came from a place that just made me feel nasty. So we're going to send these ladies some love and talk about all the good things they did. Okay, so I want to start off with how much respect I have for these dancers and coaches and just everyone in the organization that works with the cheerleaders. Watching these women, they go through a grueling audition process. First, they send videos in of their dancing. I'm sure it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of women who audition via video first, and then they narrow it down. All the girls come together, they do a big dance. They keep narrowing it down until they choose who goes to training camp. You go to training camp, you learn all this choreography, you get a makeover, you get a new outfit. They like literally like pick apart your appearance, which I can see why that would be pointed out and judged by the public. When you see these young girls trying on these really tiny costumes, they're all really like concerned about their bodies. It's easy to look at that and judge it and say that is wrong, that is bad. However, these women know what they're getting into and they know the ins and outs. And I used to be a dancer growing up. I did have an eating disorder growing up and I had to quit dancing. But I do think that the organization, they talk about a big part of the show is talking about how the body image thing and how the body has to look really good in the uniform, all this stuff. They talk a lot about how they really encourage the girls to fuel themselves if they're not eating. They have like someone who can prep meals for them. They basically tried to do everything they can to set these girls up for success, but appearance is a big part of the job. So even just seeing these girls, like how militant they are in their exercise and their workouts and the way they eat and how they take care of themselves, I could see why people would look at that and judge that. But I personally thought it was kind of inspiring because these girls want so badly to achieve their goals of being a part of this team that they stay in shape, they work out, they eat. And I get why that could be detrimental. I struggled with an eating disorder in the past as well. I was a dancer growing up. I'm an actress. Like, I get it. I get it. But I thought that the producers and directors of this series choosing to show that side of the job with transparency was positive. And they even had a girl, Victoria, they called her Vic on the show, this dancer, who was so brave and honest and vulnerable about her struggles with food and her eating disorder. She opened up about it on the show, and I was so deeply moved that she was so strong enough to open up about it. And I think the point is with this is that, you know, lots of people struggle with eating disorders, dancers, not even just dancers, just people in general who aren't dancers. And I thought it was really cool that they shed a light on that and that she did everything she could to get better. There's such a moving moment when they're in the car, Vic's in the car, and they're interviewing her, like the producers are interviewing her, and she's talking about her struggles with food. And the producer says off camera, he goes, "You're really strong, Vic." And she it's almost as if like my heart broke for her because it was almost as if she didn't know how to take the compliment, but she was trying so hard to. And she was just nodding, holding back tears. And she was like, sometimes. And I just thought it was so brave of her to share her story. And it's going to help a lot of people too by hearing that. Even like as someone who struggled with eating disorders in the past, whenever I hear someone share their story and be so brave and honest and vulnerable, it helps me too. So she helped a lot of people with that. And I thought it was very moving. Let me make one thing clear. These women are athletes. The way they train, oh my God, the things that, the jump splits, like I can't even, wow. Just kudos. It was so cool to watch. It just makes me think, why are we so quick to judge other women and bring them down? And I just want to commend all of these ladies because you really get to know these women in these interviews and they are all captivating. Just hearing their stories. So like I get why it's intriguing to like tear beautiful cheerleaders down to feel better about yourself. However, I'm not interested in what you're against. I'm interested in what you are for. We live in a world where it's so easy to tear people down, and we get pleasure by tearing a beautiful cheerleader down. I could see why in this society you would want to do that. But isn't it so much cooler and better to cheer on people for their strengths and not tear them down for their weaknesses or pick them apart and try to find something that, tears them down? I want to know what you are for. I don't care what you're against. I want to know what you are for. And I am for rooting for other women. I am for cheering other women on. And a big thing I got for this show, okay, every woman needs to watch this show because you see these women, it is a sisterhood. I didn't see one moment where one girl was tearing the other girl down or being judgmental or being jealous at all. They're all so happy for each other. Every time someone gets up to perform, they all cheer. It is probably the best example I have ever seen of women supporting women, and every single woman should watch it. And man, honestly, if everyone watched the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader show and took one thing away from it, it should be that those women supporting each other is how we all should be. We should all be rooting for other women. We should all be cheering each other on. And you know what? When one of the girls didn't make the squad, everyone just gathered around them and hugged them and loved on them. And what was so cool is that the coaches, like Kelly and Judy, the main coaches, they really fostered an environment to create space for the girls to be there for one another, especially when they have to cut a girl from the team, or like a dancer in the tryouts, and they have to cut a dancer from the tryouts. They create space for the girls to rally around the girls who just got cut from the team and just support them and love on them. And it's so beautiful and so moving, and we should all be acting that way and cheering on our girlfriends. Still can't believe Ragnar left me. Breaking stereotypes. I know it's easy to look at these beautiful women who are cheerleaders. You think they seemingly have everything and everything comes easy to them. That's the stereotype. But when you watch how much work and time goes into being a cheerleader, making the team in the first place, but once you're on the team, how much effort and work it takes to stay on the team and do the actual job, it's so much. It is more than a full-time job being a cheerleader, but most of these women have to have a second job to actually support themselves. One woman was a dentist, one woman's a nurse. So they all have different career paths as well. And so they're doing basically 2 full-time jobs, and they have barely any time for themselves. And I think that was the biggest point I saw people judging on these YouTube videos or in these articles talking about the show. And it's about how these girls don't really get paid a lot. One girl on the show said she got paid probably the equivalent of a Chick-fil-A worker. I'm not sure how much people who work at Chick-fil-A make, but it seems like a clear thing with this show is that the girls make very, very minimum wage. And for a company, organization that is worth billions of dollars, they should probably get paid more, right? And the whole point in the show, they were saying the reason why the cheerleaders don't get paid a lot is because it is a kind of like a privilege to be on the team. And like, it's not like they should be so lucky, but it is kind of like, yeah, it's a privilege to be on the team. It's an honor. And it's not about the money. Now, when I first heard them address this, they addressed it literally within the first 20 minutes of the first episode. When I first saw them address this, I was kind of like, that's not fair. But then like throughout the series, you see how much of a gift it is to be a part of that organization. And I'm like, well, you know what? Yeah, like if they're okay making that amount of money and not making more, and they don't want to ask for more, that's fine. I'm not going to go to bat for them. A lot of these videos on YouTube were women being like, they need to get paid more. And I agree. They should get paid more, but it's not my place to come pick these women apart and this organization apart because they don't get paid what I think they should get paid. I'm sure after this series, there'll be some people that come forward within the organization and there might be some changes made. But I don't think the fact that these women are okay with not getting paid a lot is any reason to judge them. That is their choice, and we are going to support them because we're women supporting women. Jazz hands. I so wish I could do it like a jump split right now. Also, one thing that's so moving and also devastating about this show is seeing these women, they've dedicated their entire lives to dance. You meet some of their family members through the show. Every girl, it's like they've dedicated their entire life to dance. This is their career, and their whole life's goal is to be on DCC, Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. And what's really just, I mean, so moving, and I was so taken aback by the fact that these women, they're getting on this team in their early 20s usually, sometimes late teens, and doesn't seem like anyone is on the team for more than 5 years. And that's a huge accomplishment to even be on the team for 5 years. Some women just get a year. But the fact that your career is over at such a young age, your dance career, I mean, of course, you can go on to be a choreographer or own a dance studio. I'm sure there are lots of things that they could do. But it's just so sad to watch these women work so hard for a goal and then have it be done so soon. And I think it's actually very commendable that they still pursue their dreams even knowing it has a ceiling, it has a time limit. And I thought that was beautiful because they love something so much to even know that it's not going to last forever, and it might only lead to being a DCC cheerleader. It might not go further than that, but to still pursue it because they love it, I thought that was beautiful. Watching these women be so focused on their goal and give up so much to pursue it, even just to try out, they sacrifice so much. The training camp's like a month long? And they're just staying in these like shitty hotel rooms, just like working day in and day out to try to make the team. And they don't even know if they're gonna make the team. They sacrifice so much. They have to put their entire life on hold to even audition. And that is just, I mean, so commendable. It made me think, in what areas of my life can I sacrifice more? If I want something in my life, in my career, my relationships, anything in life, if I want something, where can I sacrifice more for that? What can I let go of to make the thing that I actually want more possible? For instance, this YouTube channel. If I want to have a video out every week, I need to sacrifice and let go of the things that are taking up my time, that are keeping me from making these videos for y'all. And a lot of work goes into making them, you know? So I want you to look at your life. Pick a goal that you have for yourself or something that's really important to you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a dream you have or a career goal that's really important to you. What do you need to sacrifice in your life in order to make that dream a reality? If you want to have deeper relationships, where are you wasting your time doing things when you could be pouring into the relationships and the people that you love? If you have a dream of starting a YouTube channel, where are you procrastinating in your life? How can you streamline and focus so you can actually make your dream a reality? Oh my gosh, y'all, some of these dancers audition multiple times. They don't make the team. There's this one girl, she was back for the second time. She didn't make the team the second time. And I saw on Instagram the other day that she came back a third time after working all year to get better, and she finally made the team. And it's like, most people would have quit, and she didn't. And then she made the team and she got it. And I will say, I find that girl's story, the girl who auditioned 3 times and didn't make it until the third time, I find that girl's story way more inspiring than the girl who auditioned for the team and made it on the first try. You know why? Because we actually learned something from this girl's story. I forgot her name. I have to find it out. This girl, she didn't give up. And you saw how heartbroken she was on the show when she didn't make it for a second time. And she literally says, I think God might have a different plan for me. And I was like, oh, wow, she's done. And then I see on Instagram, this girl dedicated an entire year to getting better. She came back, she auditioned for a third time, and she made the team. That is so inspiring. So look at your life as well. What are you feeling like you want to quit at? What are you tired of getting rejected from? Is there anything in your life that you're working so hard for that you feel like you just keep getting rejected from? Can you just give yourself a little bit more time? If you feel like you want to quit, can you just give yourself a little bit more time? I think that's really cool. I learned way more from this girl who never gave up than the girl who just came on to the team and got on it the first time. It's just like, man, that is so cool that you would go through that whole heinous process again. Heinous because it looks so tiring. Oh my God. Like they go through so much, like emotionally, physically, financially. They sacrifice everything for their dream. I'm just like, well, I need to be going harder. If I want to grow my YouTube channel, it's just like, man, that is so cool that you would go through that whole heinous process again. Heinous because it's looks so tiring. Oh my God. Like they go through so much, like emotionally, physically, financially. They sacrifice everything for their dream. I'm just like, well, I need to be going harder. If I want to grow my YouTube channel, I need to be going harder. I need to be working harder. And when you watch this show, it literally makes you look at your own life and you're like, where can I improve? How can I double down on my dream just like these cheerleaders are and make it happen? I need to be going harder. I need to be working harder. And when you watch this show, it literally makes you look at your own life and you're like, where can I improve? How can I double down on my dream just like these cheerleaders are and make it happen? And when I talk about this sisterhood of women who they're friends for life. These women, they get on the team and then they are friends for life. And you see like during the audition process, women who are on the team in the 80s come back and cheer these girls on and they're all like, where are we going for dinner after? Like they're all still friends and it's just so cool to watch and it makes me want to be a part of something like that, you know? It just kind of piggybacks off of what I talked about in my last video, and I'll link it below, about women supporting women and how you want to surround yourself with hype girls and people who love you and cheer you on and root for you. This show is the perfect example of that. Also, another pressure that some of these girls deal with is being a legacy cheerleader, which means either your mom was a DCC cheerleader or your older sister was a DCC cheerleader, and just like having that pressure of making the team as well. I think that would be a lot. There are a few girls on this season who, like, they had an older sister or a mom who was a cheerleader, and it seemed even harder for them because they were always being compared to their older sister or their mom. They also felt the pressure of following in their family members' footsteps, and I thought that was really cool that they would even, go for something kind of like, with that much pressure. So when you watch this show, I want you to be looking for a few things. I want you to be looking for the sisterhood. Watch how these women support each other. Watch how they cheer each other on, how they root for each other, how they're there to pick each other up when they're down and they're crying and they're tired or they get injured. It is a perfect example of how we should be treating each other, treating our friends, treating strangers, men, women, everyone. It is important to be kind. I want you to be looking for how dedicated they are and how much they sacrifice. Look how much they sacrifice. They sacrifice relationships. They sacrifice other job opportunities. They sacrifice so much, their time. They have to stay in shape. Watch for how much they sacrifice. And then look at your own life and ask yourself, you don't have to be as extreme as they are, but look at your own life and ask yourself, where can I sacrifice in my life for what I actually want? And then I want you to look for how these women treat themselves and have self-talk. Like, oh my gosh, okay. So there's this other girl. Her name is Reese. This girl, she was a rookie. She tried out for the first time on the show. And this girl, I mean, she's so like beautifully, like physically, she's a gorgeous girl. But the most beautiful part about her is her heart and her, like what's inside of her, her personality. She is like, when you meet her, she is talking about her faith and God and how she's a very devout Christian. And I could see why some people would judge that. However, you don't get a chance to judge this girl because she is so bright and so shiny and her aura is so big and she's just so good-hearted that you can't help but love this girl. I was obsessed with her. And it was just such a good example of how her good heart shined through when she was dancing. She was one of the best dancers there was and entertainers. When she was dancing, you could just see her light shine through her. And it just goes to show what's on the inside really does cancel out what's on the outside. Like, watching her made me want to lean more into my faith and lean more on God because that girl, I'll tell you what, that girl's got it. And she's literally talking about how when she's dancing, she just wants people to see God. And I just thought that was so moving and so beautiful. And I just was rooting for her the whole time. There's also one of the main team captains, Kelsey, and it was her last year. I think she was a fourth or fifth year. But she knew this was her last year as a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And just watching her do everything for the last time and lead, I mean, this girl was such an amazing leader. Watch, what's her name? Kelsey. Watch Kelsey if you're interested in how to be an effective leader. Also watch Kelly and Judy. I mean, these women who are also Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, the two women who like run the whole thing, they're like the directors and of the whole DCC section of the Cowboys. Such incredible leaders, and they're tough, but they're also not soft, but you could tell they care. I mean, watching them have to cut girls from the team in the audition process, I mean, they were crying at a few times, but you know, they have to be strong for the girls, you know, and comfort them when they're crying. But just watching how these women lead, and they were also cheerleaders, it was just so inspiring. So the biggest takeaway I want us to take from today's video from the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders Netflix show is, let's stop judging women. Let's stop judging people in general. I could see why a lot of people would judge a beautiful cheerleader and just think their life is so perfect and they have everything easy and just honestly just like be jealous of them. But when you actually see what's behind the curtain and how hard these girls work, your opinion will be changed. And I hope we all watch this show and reflect about how quick we are to judge people and how that's just not a good way to go through life, and how it's so much more fun to live life in a way of hyping other people up and not judging people and cheering other people on. I mean, the way these women cheer each other on is just so moving. I mean, oh, it's so beautiful. So go watch the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders show. Let me know what you think in the comments. Even if you disagree with me, I'm open to have that dialogue in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time on Reel It In.